Namaste and welcome to today's episode of interview. Guest for today's evening is an amazing personality who works in the field of wildlife photography. So without any further delay, let's welcome Souradeep Chakraborty. Welcome you, sir, to this session of interview. Thank you for taking out some time for this valuable session.
Yeah, no worries, Pallabi. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. So thank you so much, and it's fine.
My pleasure. So first of all, we would like to know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, you know my name. I'm Souradeep Chakraborty, and I work as an analyst at a consulting company by profession, and I am a wildlife photographer and also an occasional landscape photographer by passion. I have been I've been shooting for almost 3 to 4 years now, and I am from Guwahati, and almost all of my shots are based out of Guwahati and Assam. I've had a few trips outside Northeast India, but almost 90 to 95% of whatever I've shot is definitely of Assam based and all of it. So yeah, that's about me, and also I use Nikon. I shoot with this. This is my Nikon D7500, and I use an 18 to 140 mm lens for my landscapes and some mild wildlife shots, and I use my 70 to 300 for all of my wildlife and all of my birding shots.
That's really great. And now we would like to know what drove you to wildlife photography.
Well, wildlife photography, let's say photography. Photography for me has always been a relaxation. The weekdays tend to get really very hectic, and wildlife photography is like a fresh glass of fresh lime soda on a hot summer day. So it's really relaxing, and I guess to be specific about wildlife photography, for me, that unpredictability of nature, the unpredictability of all the animals and birds, their movement, their preening, their be it anything, that unpredictability is what drives me to be into wildlife photography so fondly. I love action shots. I love to take that very moment, that very fraction of second of action that happens. So yeah, that thrill, that waiting in patience for that moment to happen, I believe that's what got me into wildlife photography to be my favorite genre.
Okay. One of your photograph, that one in which two turtles were face to face. How long did it take for that shot?
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, that photo is probably one of my most favorite shots. I guess the reason for that would be the fact that that image to me tells a story or a conversation between a mother and a child, and that is how I envisioned the shot. So to be very specific about how long did it take for me to get that shot, I'd say that image is 50% luck, because obviously wildlife does not happen twice. So it happened that day. I was lucky to be there, so I got the shot. So that's definitely 50% of the effort of all of it. Rest 30%, I'd say it would be experience, because I have been shooting at that place for almost a really long time now, and I have had an idea about when to get those slider turtles, at what time of the day and at what place. So I had an idea about when to go to get those turtles in action, or get a sighting of those turtles. And well, the rest 20% is photography. When I saw this moment happen, I had to get my settings right, get the frame right, get the composition right, and all of it. And I really did not want to take a risk, so I took a burst of around 8 to 10 shots, so that I don't miss the focus, or if there are some last moment issues or accidents that happen. So I did not really want to take a risk, so I took a burst of around 8 to 10 shots on my camera, and that's how I got the shot. So yeah, I had to wait for some time, but I guess it was 50, 30, 20.
Okay. So apart from this, what do you think that what makes your photographs successful?
How do you define successful? Because successful is a very subjective term, I'd say.
Okay, in a sense that how audience perceive your photographs.
Okay,
Right?
so how audience perceives my photograph? If you are talking from the angle of likes, comments, and follows, trust me, they are very less. So I mean, there is no success that I consider on that front. Yeah. If you consider the fact that some of the one or two awards and recognitions my images have gotten, so I'd say this happens on the basis of how you take that competition, what the theme is, and what sort of a photo you put forward for that theme, because there are many shots which might go perfectly with one theme and might not be completely usable for a theme which is very similar to the other. There are there are themes like slow shutter. There are image themes like black and white and stuff like that. So it's very important to choose the images for competitions. So again, successful is a very relative term on that frontier as well. What I personally feel a successful image is would be the fact that a successful image grabs your attention within 0.0001 seconds. Whilst you're scrolling on your feed, a good image takes your attention in one moment. So it might be the lines, it might be the chaos, it might be the pattern, it might be how well the image is composed, what the image is showing. So these are successful images for me, and I try to incorporate them into my work as well. Also, at the same time, I'd say that some of the images that I envision in one angle, there are people who envision that in the same angle as well, and that is what makes me feel successful as a photographer. That yes, whatever I thought to show to the people actually got it. The people actually could relate to what I was, trying to show them, and that I guess makes me successful as a photographer. So yeah, a bunch of people, like-minded people, to be honest, or to be very precise, are the people who make me feel successful and give me the hope and optimism to go on and go forth.
Yes. So whatever you have said is indeed true. As we are talking about your achievements, so why don't you share the story behind your featuring of a photograph in BBC Brazil and your grabbing of a number of positions in the photography contest?
Well, I mean, see, the thing is, a recognition, to be very honest. Everyone likes recognition. I shoot for myself, I shoot to show it to the world. And now, if some celebrity or some prestigious page or brand is sharing my work to the world, they are showcasing my content to the world, that is indeed a great feeling for anyone, and I am no different. So if I shoot something and some person or some page likes it and they share it, mention in their story, put up on their posts and whatnot, so it's definitely a great feeling. So obviously the BBC Brazil was no different. I was and I am very very happy that that shot got a chance to get featured as a post. That shot was really one of those shots where you don't think much, you don't it was not a very effort, it did not need much effort. I'll be very honest, because the egret shot that got into BBC Brazil, that shot was one of those shots when I went to that place. I haven't seen egrets there for a really long time. On that day I go to shoot, I see an egret with its beak open and tongue out. So I take that shot, and I was lucky enough that BBC thought the picture to be fit for their page, and well, I got my feature. Same applies for the recognitions that I have received for 35 awards, or some of the recognitions that I have received. So yeah, these are just some calculated risks and some hits and misses that work. To be very honest, Pallavi, you or everyone who sees these few recognitions are the ones which you get to see. There are maybe 15 of those recognitions which finally get to my feed, whereas there are hundreds which don't even get to my feed because I have never received any recognition or anything as such. So definitely you all the entire world always gets to see the cream of the cake and not the unsuccessful attempts or the failed attempts, whatever we go through.
Yes,
So yeah.
you are right. Yeah. It takes a lot of hard work to get the final image, which you have proved
Yes.
through your work. Okay, it is often seen that You roam around the NIT Silchar campus. So, is there any storytelling from your side to share with our viewers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, NIT Silchar is my alma mater. I passed out from NIT Silchar, and to be honest about it, NIT Silchar campus is an incredible campus. The area is extremely vast. There are number of lakes. There are tons and tons of trees around, and it caters to an amazing biodiversity. There are birds which I had seen for the first time at my campus. For example, the Indian roller or the bronze-winged jacana. I never saw them. I never saw them anywhere in Guwahati before. The first time I saw an Indian roller, I was absolutely baffled. It's such a beautiful bird, and I could not believe what I was seeing. I had seen it on my phone on the computer screen, but to see such a beautiful bird at such close proximity, and that too in my college campus, was it was beyond words to be to explain to you. And also, other than that, I mean, the campus has had numerous memories of mine, be it photographic or be it not, because obviously it's my college. So yeah, one thing to be very precise about would be the night skies of Silchar. I mean, the night skies of NIT Silchar and Silchar are just so beautiful. They will always have a special place in my heart forever. The skies are unbelievably beautiful. So yeah, and well, other than that, I remember an event when I was shooting fireflies with a friend of mine. So we went out on a shoot, but suddenly out of nowhere a gush of rain and storm appeared, and believe me, we had been stranded and drenched in rain for almost 2 hours. There was no electricity. It was dark and dark. I had all of my camera gear and all of it. It was not even mine. The camera was my friend, so I was really scared about that too. But yeah, we were stranded for almost 2 hours, drenched in rain, excessive amount of storm, and yeah, it's one memory that will I'll fondly remember. So fireflies turned out to be quite an adventure at NIT Silchar. So yeah, that's what.
It is really interesting, that I must say. And so already you have told that you have explored a lot more in Assam and Meghalaya also. So is there any other storytelling from your experience in this field?
I mean, Assam and Meghalaya, I have explored maybe 1% of what Assam and Meghalaya has to offer. Uh, I mean, let's start off with Assam first. If you are talking about the landscape, part of things,
Yes.
Assam is like a canvas, and not even Assam. I'd say just get to any high-rise building in Guwahati and look around yourself. It's just so beautiful, and what makes it more beautiful are the undulations. And the hills, the small hills which are at a distance at any direction that you see. That's what makes Assam, or I'd say Guwahati, to be precise in this case, as it's unbelievably beautiful. I remember I have a lot of shots which are taken, a lot of sunset shots, a lot of landscape shots which are taken keeping Brahmaputra river as the subject, and the images are really they're worth a glance, to be honest. Also, there are places just from at a distance of maybe a 1 hour drive from Guwahati, which are they're incredible. They're very, very beautiful. They're aesthetic, and you can effortlessly shoot incredible landscapes and whatnot at these places. So I am really happy and privileged to be here in Guwahati, here in Assam, because the landscape and the wildlife scene of Assam is truly, it's unparalleled. Also, talking about Meghalaya, I'll be I won't be wrong if I say that Meghalaya is indeed one of the most beautiful places that I have ever seen in my life so far. I mean, the waterfalls are unparalleled. The landscapes, the canyons they are incredible to say the least. They are so beautiful. I mean, Meghalaya is simply like a slideshow of visual excellence. You can see this image right at my back. This is Nokalikai Falls. This is at Cherrapunji, and this is one of the most beautiful waterfalls that I have seen so far. So it's really great. And other than that, this image is of Chandobi. This is in Assam. Obviously, you have an idea of where Chandobi and how beautiful Chandobi sunsets can be. So this is a boat, a fisher woman who was, checking and doing her regular chores during the sunset hours of Chandobi. So yeah, I mean, Assam and Meghalaya from a landscape point of view, unbelievable. I haven't really shot wildlife at Meghalaya, so I cannot comment on that. I believe it's amazing as well. But then again, for Assam as well, the national parks, be it Kaziranga, be it Manas, Orang, or Pobidara Wildlife Sanctuary, these are great for wildlife. These are absolutely amazing for wildlife. You get to see a lot of animals. I personally have seen almost, the popular ones, be it rhinos, be it elephants, water buffaloes, pygmy hogs, wild boars, and all of it. The only thing that's left for me to see would be big cats, and it's really tough to find big cats in the forests of Northeast India, at least visually. So yeah, I mean that remains to be a bucket list shot for me as of now. Yeah, that's it.
Hopefully, you will soon find the cats. And one mention should be here that about the reel which you have created by integration of some of the photographs from all over Assam.
Ah yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. It took some time to make it, but I am really happy that I did. And it was, that reel had a lot of photos, and every photo tells a story, at least for me. So yeah, that small 30-second reel has a lot of story to say and a lot of biodiversity and diversity to show of Assam.
Okay. So what you would like to call yourself? Means more preferable, which one is, as a wildlife photographer or as a landscape photographer?
That's a very tough question. Okay, let me answer it to you in this way. See, my parents are really, into traveling, and they are very enthusiastic about traveling to places. And I am, interested in the photography part of things. So that's one of the connections that, worked really well for the three of us. So my genre keeps on shifting from place to place. When I visit Meghalaya, I prefer landscapes because obviously when I visit Kaziranga, it's wildlife. So yeah, if you ask me to choose one, that would be wildlife, because wildlife has my heart. But definitely, landscape takes skill on another level, which I certainly do not have, and I am trying my best to get whatever skill I can acquire at this point of time. But yeah, if I were to choose between those two, I guess wildlife wins.
Okay. That's nice. Then again, it is seen that you also showed the celestial bodies.
Yes. I mean, you see, like I mentioned about NIT Silchar, I have been fascinated by the night sky. I have been absolutely fascinated by the night sky, the stars, the constellations. I do not have much of theoretical knowledge, to be, very clear about things. I do not have theoretical knowledge. I do not, I might not be able to differentiate between a constellation and a cluster or something like that. I have my friends for that information, but just the pattern, the diamonds in the night sky, the glittering diamonds of the night sky are just a visual. I mean, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And what got me into astrophotography or night sky photography or night photography would be some of the images and work by Navneet Unnikrishnan. He is also a landscape and astrophotographer, and his work is truly it's unbelievable. So yeah, that work has had some impact on me. And also the most important and the most difficult part of star photography or night photography is to find that night sky. I I am from Guwahati, as you know, and it's really difficult to get a night sky that is as clear, to get the Milky Way galaxy, to be very precise. So it is difficult, but yeah, doing my bit, trying my bit. So, yeah.
Okay. That's really nice. And do you believe that wildlife photography is the key to wildlife conservation?
Wildlife photography, or I'd say, when you love something, when you get an idea of what it is. If you don't see wildlife, how would you love wildlife? And when you love wildlife, you'll definitely do your bit to protect it. So it's important to experience wildlife through photographs to get an idea of what it is, how beautiful it is, and how important it is for our ecosystem to manage. There are countless photographers who not only shoot for to share it with the outside world, but they shoot for conservation, and they are a part of many conservation groups and many conservation mm, teams that actually take care of a lot of uh, forest conservation and wildlife conservation as well. Because I mean, there are so many examples. I'll just have one thought that recently I viewed on my Instagram, was that there was one photographer. I am not sure who, so I would not confirm. I would not name him with the confirmation. He shot the picture of a tiger who had some wounds on his head. The problem with that wound was that it's not lickable by the tiger, because tigers, what they do, they lick their wounds, so it prevents bacteria and other issues from happening, and it acts as a natural antiseptic. But the wound was on its head, which is impossible to lick. So that image got the attention of the forest officials, and what they did was that they immediately created a search party for that tiger, tranquilized it, and gave proper medication to its head, so that further infection or maggots don't get formed on the tiger. So yeah, just imagine this one image, if given to the right people at the right time, can do wonders. They might have just saved one tiger by just doing this much. And this is one information, and this is one story that I know. There are countless stories that are happening every single day, and that's a great thing. So this is just a very small and basic example of what wildlife photography can have have an effect on wildlife conservation. See, wildlife does not need us for their existence. Wildlife can be, they can be at peace with themselves. It's the cycle of life. But human intervention and exploitation is not sought for. So that's the thing.
Yes. Yeah. So we are nearly to the end of this interaction. Now we would like to know if you have any advice for the young aspirants in the field of photography.
Okay, am I even qualified to answer that question? Because I
Yes.
am a nobody. I'm just one of those hundreds and thousands of photographers that you see on Instagram just posting their pictures, after a few days. So I don't really think I'm qualified enough to, advise people about what to do and what not to do. But I mean, if you ask me, I can just share with you what I
Yeah,
do.
please go
If
ahead.
you, haha,
Go ahead and share your
yeah.
advice.
Yeah, that's what. So I can share some of my, the things that I follow up, and if anyone finds anything informative or noteworthy from it, I would be very glad. So yeah, if you find anything informative from whatever I say, do let me know. I'll be, overwhelmed to know that. So sorry. The first thing I would say is perseverance, right? Because it's an absolutely impossible wish to expect that every day you get out with your camera, you're going to get an amazing shot. It's going to be an absolutely amazing day, and you're gonna kill it. It does not happen. I've had many experiences where I had to drive quite some distance from my home, but that day I got to shoot absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even one sparrow. So yeah, there are many days when this happens. There are many days when I get good shots, but to go out every day, to have that zeal, that yeah, I'll try, I'll give it a shot, even if I don't get a good shot, even if I don't get any shot, that's fine, because trust me, if you get out every day, magic really happens, and magic happens in the least expected way that it can happen for you. So that's what I believe. So yeah, for me, perseverance is very important, because that's how you keep a track of yourself, and that's how you grow, to be honest. Other than that, secondly, I'd say that do not shoot as a compulsion. the compulsion would lead to nowhere. For me, I shoot because I love to shoot. There is absolutely no other reason why I wake up at 6 in the morning almost every other day, take out my camera and just go out. Nobody asks me to do, nobody forces me to do. It's completely, and I don't even set an alarm. I wake up naturally at around 5:45, 6, just because I have that interest. So if you shoot for yourself, that's how things get better. For me, it has gotten better because I have that interest. So yeah, the photography part of things should come from within, and not, it should not be imposed as a duty from anyone or by any external body other than your own head. And yeah, well, there is another thing that a lot of people always have an issue of, is that gear. Yes, gear matters. Gear absolutely matters. But what matters more is how you use that gear. I mean, I can have equipment costing lakhs and lakhs of rupees and still shoot in auto mode, which would be of absolute no use to me as so as to grow. But at the same time, I have seen some phone photographs which are leagues better than pro grade cameras. So your gear is the best gear that you can have. I have the best gear that I could have had. Definitely there are shortcomings, definitely there are certain things which are absolutely incredible. So it's a balance of all. There is no camera which is absolutely perfect. There is no ideal camera as such. Every camera has its pros and cons. So that is how we deal with things as a photographer. So yeah, I mean, these would be my gyan to whosoever's seeing this. I mean, if you find anything informative or useful from all of this, I'd be very happy. So yeah, I mean, that's what I follow as a photographer. That's what I follow for my passion. I love my passion, and that's why I try and maintain the work-life balance. Because I have my office throughout the day. So what I do is I shoot early in the morning. I get on with my daily life and my office work throughout the day, and I process my images at night. So that's how I keep the balance between my work and my life. So yeah, that's how I do my job.
Your words are really valuable to me as well as our audience. So what about today's photograph which you have posted in the morning? Rhino today
Oh
you have
yes.
posted one photograph with the rhino with something in his mouth, grasses.
Yeah. So that image was shot at the Bagori range of Kaziranga. This was shot on the last day of of the 3 trips that we made. So what happened was that the rhino was there, the rhino was grazing, and I was locked on to see some sort of movement. Initially the head of the rhino was away from us. It was almost 90 degrees from us. So I did not like that. I really wanted a head-on shot, or a shot where it was looking at us. So I waited. I had to wait for almost 30-40 odd minutes because the rhino was grazing it in its at its pace, and we could do nothing but wait. So I had my camera locked on, I had my settings, and I was just sitting and having an eye on the activity of the rhino. We were just talking when suddenly some disturbance or some noise startled the rhino. And the rhino with extreme speed, it just looked up, and it was constantly investigating its surroundings while grazing on the grass. So I got that moment as an opportunity that yes, now it's really looking here and there, and it might just look at me for one single fraction of a second. I need to get the shot. So I got all ready with all the settings and all correct. I was completely locked onto the rhino, but I wasn't shooting at that point yet. I was waiting because the rhino was still not looking at me. So just when I could anticipate that its head would sway from right to left, I went crazy with the shutter. I went all drrrr with the frames, and I shot almost 25 shots. So what happened was that the head of the rhino slowly moved from right to left, and as it was grazing, so I got that one frame in which its mouth was open and it was almost straight up looking at me. So yeah, that was how I got the shot. And when I sat to process the shot, I really thought that let's give it a funny iteration and a funny caption to the shot. So I guess you have read the caption as well.
Yes.
So I thought let's give the audience something very relatable. That is,
Yeah.
how would it feel when you are going. When you are eating and your crush walks by in wearing a traditional dress, so it's a jaw-dropping moment. So yeah, that's what.
Both the caption and the photograph were complementing one another, as well as it proved to be the charismatic thought behind your photograph, and it attracted the viewers to the most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wish it does.
Your caption was really funny as well as interesting today.
Thank you so much. Glad you liked it.
And the photograph was also complimenting, means it was also great. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Chakraborty, we are really to the end of this session, and thank you for this valuable time. I must say that you are truly an inspiring and amazing personality. It was fun and it was interesting and informative while interacting with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Pallavi. It was really it was a very interesting session, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great experience.
In my place. Audience, if you like watching today's video, make sure you have subscribed to the channel and also hit the bell notification. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. I will be back soon with a new one. Till then, thank you so much for watching.